Now, hold on, little mama. Tambo, isn't it just truth in this little dude? Speak to me your truth, little dude.
Hello everybody, my name is Kenzie, and I am the in-betweener here at Pencilish. The last time you guys heard from me, I was also working on Bjorn. I believe I was working on episode 1, and now here I'm working on episode 3. I wanted to show some of my process on this scene because of how fun it was, and showing 3 different characters, and just some really fun movements, and so I thought, yeah, sure. As always, I always start a file investigating all of the layers, and seeing what needs to be done, what I'm going to start with, and making sure that I'm drawing on the right layer. What I usually do is I go into a drawing mode, so it's basically just a white background and I can just see the individual lines of what I need to in between so that I don't get confused with everything else going on in the scene. And so the first thing I am in betweening is actually the sweat on Becca's face, which I have never in between sweat before, so this was very fun. And as you can see, I switch back and forth as well to make sure it falls on her face correctly. Now I'm moving on to her hands. So she's doing this little nervous thing, and I've gotten much better at drawing Becca's hands while working on Bjorn, and it's fun just learning and figuring it all out. One thing with her hands was some of the frames were repeating, so I didn't have to do 20 drawings of hands, because there's there looks like there's 20 drawings missing. But some of the drawings, they looped. So when I drew on one frame, it copied over onto another frame where that same drawing would be, which also helped, and it looked very nice in the end. Now I'm moving on to Bjorn, and his in-betweens were pretty simple. He just had a very simple head turn as he reacted to Tambo and such. The little waves on the hat were very difficult to keep the volume and stuff the same. You really had to think hard on how in-betweening that would work, because it doesn't follow exactly what you would think when in-betweening. You have to really think about the shape of the hat and how it's moving in space and how many little wrinkles there are in the hat. So that was probably the hardest part about that, but also not too difficult. There weren't too many frames. You can see I'm messing with the circles and everything to make sure that the volume and the look and everything stays right, and that was pretty fun. Sometimes it's very hard to draw a circle, believe it or not. So sometimes it takes me a few tries. And here's me scrubbing through it to make sure that everything looks alright before moving on. Here you see me meticulously making sure all the lines are correct. I feel like the more I've in-betweened, the more I can catch little wobbly lines or pieces that don't quite in-between correctly. And now I'm jumping into Tambo. He was definitely the main event of this scene, and definitely took me the longest. But he's really fun. He has a lot of lines to keep up with, so you gotta pay a lot more attention when in-betweening. In this scene, for the most part, his right foot actually stayed the same drawing, and I just copied and pasted it from each frame. I think just at the very beginning, possibly there was a bit of in-betweening. There were a few times while working on this scene that I caught myself forgetting one of his little pockets on his shorts, or the little lines next to his button, and would go back and fix them. One of the hardest things about in-betweening Tambo are the little lines in his beard and his mustache, because a lot of them are different shapes and different sizes, and keeping them when I'm looking at both frames like this, it's you can see all these lines and being able to tell which line is from the frame before and which line is from the frame after, and in-betweening that for the little mustache lines is very difficult but very rewarding at the end of it. I really enjoy drawing the collar of his shirt for some reason. I don't know why. That was one of my favorite things to draw. And maybe his little ponytail. Something I'll do sometimes with shots is I will actually in-between them kind of backwards. So for this scene, I in-betweened Tambo, the ending of his animation before the beginning of his animation, just to explain why some pieces were missing. I don't know why I did that, but I was just feeling I really just went in between the end first and then make my way back to the beginning. And if you picked up on it, I got confused by the some of the lines and put like his little his pants line like way far up because I was getting two lines confused as to where in between, and then quickly was like, wait, that doesn't look right. He does not have that long of a torso. Bonus points if you spot a little drawing that Joel left me for this scene, because Joel was the animator for this scene. I was checking up on the scene before finishing it to see what things needed to be fixed or just seeing how far I've gotten. Thank you so much for watching my in-betweening process on this, and please check out the other behind the pencils. And now, here's the finished scene.
Now, hold on, little mama. Tambo, he senses truth in this little dude. Speak to me your truth, little dude.
If you like what you just saw, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, Pencilish Studios.